The German educational system produced an entire series of thinkers like Goethe, Schelling, Nietzsche, and Hegel who recognized Iran as seminal to world civilization, especially the Western one, and especially in the arts and the humanities. Thinkers who are agonizingly influential. Nietzsche is overrated and underrated at the same time, and Goethe is Germany's greatest literary figure. Nietzsche went as far as saying that Hafez was the greatest poet who ever lived. German philosophy had an entire movement that started with Kant and culminated with Hegel. Hegel didn't like Kant, but his system of philosophy nevertheless has underpinnings that are tied to him. Hegel's influence has diminished, but back in the 19th century, it was massive in the West. The leading academic philosophers in America and in Britain were Hegelians, and Protestant theologians adopted his doctrines. Political theory in the West was profoundly shaped by his philosophy of history. He was attracted to mysticism and Zoroastrian theology. Marx was a Hegelian in his youth. Marxism and its offshoots have Hegelian features. A rational formula that sums up the evolution of all mankind is one of them, albeit any overemphasis on that gives a false and distorted view of his philosophy. But you can go read Bertrand Russell's History of Western Philosophy for more details. I won't even begin to unpack the tenets of his philosophy. Hegel is the hardest Western philosopher to understand without a doubt. Even general characterizations don't do him justice. His two logics are the two most important books he ever wrote, and if you don't understand those two, you'll misinterpret and misrepresent his views on our philosophy and our outlook. But nevertheless, Hegelianism's influence was prevalent in Germany, especially in Marx's youth. We influenced the guy who claimed to have made socialism scientific and created a political movement that's shaped and rivaled capitalism for 2 centuries and refuses to die out because its adherents are still waiting for the right form of communism to take over the world. Now, Nietzsche was the successor of Schopenhauer in German philosophy, but he was more consistent and coherent in his doctrines than him. His whole idea that your will, your free will, is above any metaphysical or ethical laws, rules, and restrictions that the establishment, that civilization, or that the masses imposes on you, that you can use your sheer willpower to change your life, to change your destiny in this world, and to mold the world as you see fit, using your suffering, your passions, and your life conflicts to your advantage by being a Superman, that you should create your own aristocratic values for yourself that don't repeat the mistakes of the past because the Enlightenment got rid of Christianity and God, that histories, life events, and world events keep repeating themselves through an eternal recurrence of the same. These are all things that he came up with through his understanding of Zarathustra's teachings. He didn't innovate or invent anything new in ontology or epistemology. The reason why he's still so influential and important is due to his philosophy on ethics and his acute criticism of Western and Eastern history, and his criticism of any and all religions, especially Christianity. It's the ethical, the anti-Christian, and the anti-religious aspects of his writings that still make him influential and read in the 21st century. Nevertheless, he was one of the West's few genuine Iranophiles.